What's going on, everyone? In today's video, we're going to be going over how to create $1 million Upwork proposal. So first thing I want you to understand is that if you're able to write good Upwork proposals, you'll essentially never be able to go broke because you'll always have that skill and Upwork will almost always be around, right? So the moment you understand what constitutes a good proposal and how exactly you're able to craft these religiously, you'll pretty much never have to worry about money ever again unless it's purely, up to you. So before we get into it, let's just do some housekeeping. So first off, who am I? So my name is Matthew Johnson, and I'm the sole creator of this document and the founder of Pleiades Consultancy. I've been in the Upwork and marketing agency space for close to 2 years now and have driven over $100,000 in revenue for B2B companies, marketing agencies, and freelancers exclusively from Upwork. Now, the actual figure is likely much higher now by the time we're recording this, but yeah. So here you're just going to see like a couple of my social media profiles, some of what have been called my best YouTube videos. And you're going to get access to this document in the description. So feel free to go through everything at your own time. But yeah, let's not waste any time. One more thing, I actually have a free community called Upwork Mastery. It's a community dedicated to the complete understanding and implementation of Upwork as a method of lead generation for B2B companies, marketing agencies, freelancers, and pretty much anything else that could possibly be out there. So we use Upwork to drive revenue through qualified, consistent, and quality leads at pretty much a fraction of the cost. Just for context, like a typical lead nowadays, a B2B lead is like $150 per call. On Upwork, it isn't even half of that to actually get one. So that's why I'm making this document in the first place, right? So you can join it for free. Once again, I'm going to leave that link in the description, and you can also access this document where you'll be able to access the link. So let's just go into the introduction. So I've spent the last 2 years of my life learning the ins and outs of this platform. So I could give you some wildly philosophical answer that would probably put Socrates to shame. But in essence, Upwork is the leading freelance marketplace of the world, and it consistently has 3 million jobs posted per day, per week from international clients. So whether it's from the US, New Zealand, Canada, Australia, jobs are posted from there, and they're high quality jobs. So whether you're a B2B giant looking for the next innovation, an agency owner on the hunt for talent that can push your creative limits, or a freelancer just ready to take the world by storm, Upwork is where you must be. It's not just about finding work. It's about finding your path to success and about making your mark in a world that's ripe with opportunity. Now, you might have thought that I got that from a fortune cookie, but I assure you I didn't. So moving on, why Upwork in the first place? Because there are so many other platforms or methods that you can use for lead generation for pretty much every need. So why Upwork? So over $2.52 billion is spent on Upwork every year, with that figure continuing to grow. In 2022, I believe the figure was somewhere close to 4 billion, actually. This was of 2011, I believe. So how much of that do you think is actually captured by agencies? So I'll leave it to your imagination, but can imagine that it's probably a lot. So Upwork is a lead generation system like no other. So it's consistent, it's growing, it's high intent, and it's untapped, right? Now, everyone has heard of cold email, cold calling, paid ads, SEO. If you've been in the online marketing space for quite some time, then you've likely heard of these methods before. And I can agree that they do all work because I've tried like half of these already, even for my own business. And every one of them works 100%. But the market is continuing to sophisticate, and many people are still at level 1 in the marketplace, where nowadays we're at level 5. So people are still making basic claims and are trying to achieve marketing success with them, while the market is in level 5 right now, meaning that people are starting to make outlandish claims. They already have stuff like social proof. They're trying unique mechanisms nowadays, and most people are still at level 1, which is why they're seeing no results in their marketing campaigns. This is what makes Upwork different, because you don't have to jump through all of these hoops in order to actually be successful on Upwork. You can achieve success while you're still at levels 1 to 3 and thereabout. So that's why we're talking about Upwork in the first place. So it's where B2B companies, agency owners, and freelancers alike can not just find leads, but they can also find partners, collaborators, and overall success. So Upwork is consistent. So the more you grow on Upwork, the more likely you are to be seen. The more likely you are to be seen, the more inbound leads you receive. The more inbound leads you receive, the less outbound marketing you have to do. And the less outbound marketing you have to do, the more time you actually have to deliver in results for your clients. And the better results that you get for your clients, the more inbound leads you'll receive, and the cycle begins anew. So this is the Upwork flywheel, right? And I can go into every single reason why you should go for Upwork. So Upwork is growing, Upwork is consistent, Upwork is high intent, Upwork is untapped, it's low risk, high reward, it's uncompetitive. Like, there are so many reasons why, but I'm just gonna give you time to go through this at your own leisure when you get the document. So does it actually work? So it's a reasonable question, and no one prior to me has spoken about Upwork as a viable means for driving considerable company revenue and in turn growth. At least I haven't seen anyone. But that's just because there are none quite like me, because I actually practice what I preach. So I'm my own case study. So I've earned over 50K for myself and around 60K plus for my clients just through Upwork. And I have a little note here. So in this screenshot, it says that I have 30K in earnings, but that's because I've taken clients off Upwork. So it's not counted in the total revenue count. Upwork, please don't ban me. But yeah, so we're going to get into it now. So there are two types of lead generation on Upwork. You have inbound lead generation, and then you have outbound lead generation, represented in this diagram. So both these methods are incredibly important to the overall success of an Upwork campaign, and they just can't be overlooked. But oftentimes people aren't even aware of what they are, and instead of optimizing for both, they end up optimizing for neither. So, which for lack of a better word is just it's suboptimal, right? So inbound lead generation. So there are instances where clients come searching for specific talent on Upwork rather than opting to post a job. So in these cases, when a client reaches out to you because they want specific talent and they don't want to post a job, we call this an inbound lead. So they went out of their way to search for talent and they clicked on our profile in particular, right? So inbound leads are the highest quality of leads you can get because they're already warm. And this is one of Upwork's biggest strengths. So if a lead clicks on your profile and communicate with you without you having to market yourself directly to them, that means that chances are they want to work with you right now. You're a prime candidate of who they want to work with. So they're already interested in working with you, and they've gone as far as to invite you to submit like a proposal, right? So here's what that looks like here. Just zoom in here. So you have received an invitation to interview for the job Shopify developer required for web assistance. And this is just an excerpt or a screenshot from a client account of mine that I'm helping out right now. So it gets those leads fairly often. So now we have outbound lead generation. So on the contrary, outbound lead generation is what most of you are probably familiar with, which is reaching out to the client unprompted. So the client posts a job and you respond to this job with a proposal or cover letter, however you want to refer to it. So if they haven't asked for you to reach out to them and you're sending them a message, like maybe you're on Twitter as an example, and you send someone a message because you have services that you think might benefit them. That's an outbound message, and that's a cold message because they've never asked for you to send this to them. They didn't ask for you to pitch your services to them, right? So here you can see the difference, right? So outbound lead quality depends on a variety of factors, but for the sake of simplicity, they are in most cases lower in quality in comparison to an inbound lead, generally speaking. But in Upwork's case, like, this is how an outbound message would look. So this is an example of a proposal, right? These are the messages that you send on Upwork. So here's where Upwork shines, and I have to start smiling because it's so good, actually. So you now understand the two types of lead generation and the types of leads we can get from both. So if you've connected the dots, you would understand why Upwork is as valuable as I make it out to be. So you can perform both types of lead generation, and the lead quality will be excellent in both cases. So meaning they will all be warm. They're high intent. So think about it. If the client is searching for talent, lands on your profile, and invites you to submit a proposal to their job, that means they are warm to the idea of working with you, right? So similarly, if a client posts a job on an issue that they themselves want to be solved, they're warm to the idea of working with someone capable of solving said issue, right? So in both cases, the client wants someone to help them solve their issue, which means working with them becomes significantly easier as opposed to if they were cold. So Upwork is the best of both worlds in that sense. Whether it's an inbound or outbound message that you receive or send respectively, they're both warm to the idea of working with you. In the outbound instance, it might not be you specifically, at least initially, until they see your proposal, they see everything that associated with you and it. They're like, oh, this guy's pretty legit. Let me respond to him. Like this looks like someone that I'd want to work with. No other platform is like that. No other platform. So you get the best of both worlds. So the focus here is, now that you have a bit more context, for the sake of clarity, in this document, we'll be focusing exclusively on outbound lead generation. Since in my previous document, we went over profile optimization. And that of course is lead gen, inbound lead gen. And you can see that video. I'll link it somewhere up here or in the description or something. So the outbound aspect of Upwork stumps many of its users and leads to burnout and eventual just complete abandonment from the platform. So leaving potentials of millions of dollars on the table. And I'm not exaggerating by saying millions. So just stay focused, right? So the bane of Upwork users, and this there could never be a more fitting title. So it's proposal writing. And in my opinion, proposal writing has to be the biggest issue that everybody faces when trying to attain success on Upwork, just because they overthink it, but we'll get into it. So the biggest reasons I've found why agencies and freelancers, B2B companies, just cannot succeed on Upwork is because of these proposals. And I don't even think it's necessarily their fault. So there's so much information around Upwork that misinformation or bad information is an inevitability. There are people telling you to use templates. There are people telling you to avoid templates. There are people telling you to use AI. There are people telling you to avoid AI. People don't know what to do anymore. And as they continue to fail, they just lose hope. And they just call the platform a scam or something, right? That's the typical cycle on Upwork, but not anymore. So I'm going to go over the anatomy of a good proposal. So contrary to popular belief, you won't sign a client on Upwork solely through your proposal. It doesn't happen, at least not in the beginning. The entire purpose of a proposal is to build intrigue and to get them onto a call. So the chances you'll close a client through the inbox on Upwork is low, and it can lead to you being commoditized. And I'm going to explain this. So through the proposal, our only goal is to have the client reply to us so we can push them for a call and close them on it, which is pretty simple in theory. So rather than trying to analyze what makes a proposal good in a broad sense, it's more efficient to have it broken down into easily digestible parts. And it's only by identifying these parts that we can understand the makeup of a good proposal. And then of course we develop a framework. So don't expect it to be given to you. Like that's not how it works. There's no one size fits all solution for a proposal. So let's get into it. So there are 7 aspects or 7 essential parts of a proposal. So you have the greeting, you have the first line, the body, social proof or case studies, the call to action, the closing, and the PS line, according to me. This is what I found to be the best in terms of a structure. So if one's missing, then everything else doesn't work. So if you don't adapt to what's currently working in the market, you'll be left behind. So that's essentially what's happening with market sophistication, as I mentioned in the previous example. But being able to have a structure that you can fall back on, regardless of how the market sophisticates, is what's going to make the difference between you succeeding with your proposal and you failing with it. So it's all or nothing, right? But if you have everything, I guarantee that you'll be successful with this. I promise you. So personalization. Personalization is the basis upon which all of our proposals work in the first place. Inherently, people want to hear about themselves, especially in a world that is becoming increasingly more self-centered. One of the biggest mistakes, and I want everybody to pay attention here, the biggest mistake I see when someone submits a proposal is thinking the prospect wants to hear about all they've done and how great of a person they are or how they need a job to survive. I'm going to tell you this now, and you need to get this through your head. And you can even repeat after me. The prospect doesn't care. They don't care about all of that. And it might sound harsh, but put yourself in their shoes. The prospect is trying to have their issue solved. That's all it boils down to. They're trying to have their issue solved. If you are wasting their time by telling them about all of these things that have nothing to do with solving the issue, then you're just wasting the time. It's useless. I'm telling you now that people are inherently self-centered. They're selfish because self-preservation is part of our it's part of our makeup, right? Our biogenetic makeup. We are designed to preserve ourselves. We are designed to survive. We are designed to be self-centered and selfish inherently. So when you go out of your way not to talk about them, but to talk about you, of course your proposals fail. They don't care about all of your success, your accomplishments, and everything. They care about what you can do for them. That's all it boils down to. What can you do for them? So with that in mind, I'm going to talk a bit about the elements of personalization. So in the context of Upwork, there are only so many elements that we can realistically use for personalization without sounding robotic or just stupid, right? So these are the client's name, their location, their company name, their job description, feedback, and I'm going to get into this, their LinkedIn, and their industry. So I'm sure you could find others, but in my experience, these are the most important, relevant elements that you could find useful, like that you can possibly find and use, right? Here's the dilemma with personalization, especially on Upwork. Because on other platforms, like with cold email, you can get all of this data if you put enough time into it. You can just get all of this data yourself, right? But with Upwork, a majority of these aren't readily available to you unless the client themselves gives you this information. Hence why the asterisk. Like I've noted the ones that are reliant on the client or extenuating factors using asterisks. So we'll have to be resourceful. We have to use what we have. But at least one of them are always there. So the job description is always there. So in the event that you can't get their name, their company name, their LinkedIn, their website URL, their location, etc., the job description is always going to be what you default to. There are cases where the job description just isn't comprehensive enough. It isn't great in terms of the details that you're given, but it's better than nothing. And if you do see an instance like the one I'm showing here, where it's just abysmal in terms of details, just skip the job. Like there are hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of jobs posted every day on Upwork. You'll find another one, I promise you. And you'll get better with time. So don't worry about whether you're bad at personalizing in the beginning. That's the point of this video, to help you with personalization, but also to just take baby steps. Right? Nothing happens overnight and you shouldn't expect it to. We'll get out of this. Now that you know about personalization, we're going to go into the first aspect, which is the greeting. So another thing that I see fairly often is how people refer to the client and how they put them on a pedestal. Pedestalizing the client only further ruins your chances of getting the job. It's like, hello, sir, or mom, or hi, sir, or dear prospect, or happy day of the week, or happy Monday, sir. Like that doesn't work. And it's just weird. It's just weird. It's not a job interview. It isn't anything formal like a written letter to the king, or those letters you used to write in school to whom it may concern. Like that doesn't work because it's not anything so formal, right? These people are human beings too, and most of them are pretty chill. Like you can just say, yo, okay, don't say that. But like, when you get onto better terms with them, it can be very informal. And I have experience doing this. My clients and I are like friends. And yes, before you ask, like, people do actually say these stuff. I'm not making it up. I see this. Maybe you even do this, right? And now you're gonna stop, of course. But don't pander, because that's what this is. And that's what I see often. Like you try to make the client to be more of God than they are a man. More of a God than they are a man. And they're just another person, just like you. I know you hear it all the time, but these people are just like you. They have the same problems as you. They have the same aspirations and dreams as you. For the most part, nobody wants to be unsuccessful, right? Everybody wants to be successful. They're just like you, and they're going through similar things to you. Treat them like you would your friend. So the tone of voice I use in every proposal is meant to be casual. It's not a job interview, as I said before. I talk to these people like I would talk to one of my friends. I'm from Jamaica, so maybe not exactly, because of course I want them to understand me. But at the same time, I'm not going to act as though like these people are better than me in some way. Like, no, they're not. They're on Upwork. They want this issue solved. I'm here to solve that issue for them. If they can't handle like how I speak in terms of casual, then maybe you wouldn't want to work with them in the first place. So don't turn off prospects by treating them like they're kings. Now we're on to the first element of personalization, which is their name. So apart from the name actually being given in the job description, you only have one other choice to actually find it. And that's to scroll down to the feedback section. So when you click into a job description, you have the opportunity to scroll further and see previous client feedback. So previous feedback left by either the client or the freelancer for one another. So this is the only other way that you can get the name of the prospect without them having given it to you themselves. So here I've shown you like how exactly you do it. So at the top is the feedback left by the freelancer. The freelancer in the first instance says, "It's my second time working with Papu Bora." Hope I didn't butcher that. So it's a kind and smooth process. Thank you. And then to freelancer, as you can see here, great as always. So that means that the client left that feedback for the freelancer, meaning that the freelancer left the first line for the client. So we've gotten their name. And just to double check, because this client has so much feedback, I actually went and found another instance where another freelancer gave the same name, right? And now that I'm looking at it, both are Daniel M. So it's probably the same person. But doesn't matter, right? They mentioned it twice, meaning that that's probably their name. So here's how we get the name. So there are exceptions. So sometimes there are several clients in under one account. In here, you can see in the first instance, you can see that they refer to them as Ben. Mohammed referred to them as Ben. But if we go all the way to the base here, we can see another freelancer, Moises. Hope I didn't butcher that if you're watching this, Moises. Refers to them as Lenny and Rachel. And this underline here, the red one, just means that this is their company name. Just based on the context, I really enjoyed working at Untamed. It's a company. But yeah. So in this case, it's not that big of an issue, since regardless of which one of the names you use, one of them will probably be able to see, or the client themselves, maybe Ben is the one who views your proposal. The fact that you mentioned Lenny, so the fact that you mentioned Rachel or Lenny just means that he might know one, if not all three of us. So this person seems interesting. So doesn't matter which one of them you use in that instance, but I'd always use the most recent one. So the most recent one was Ben, so I'd use Ben's name. So example of ideal greetings, and it's not really that complex. But if you know their name, then I just use hey, hello, or hi, and their name. If you don't know their name, I'd say stuff like hello there, hi there, or hey. Just like a simple hey. So here's a diagram that basically goes over that. Don't overthink it. You're speaking to another human being. So just act like it. Act like you're speaking to another person. So next up is the first line. Hugely important. So the first line is exactly that. It's the first thing the prospect sees upon arriving on your proposal. So here we can see Fred was a true asset to us, providing advanced coding skills. So this is just like an excerpt of a testimonial. This is fairly old. Now I believe it's much longer in terms of how many characters your first line actually takes up. But when someone sees your proposal, this is what they see. This is what they see here. So if you make a terrible impression here, you have effectively like lost a prospect. It's done. It's a wrap. And I need to remind you that every proposal costs connects, and connects cost money. So when you're writing the first line, the one thing you should keep in mind is what would make the prospect, after reading my first line, want to open my proposal. That's why we call them magic words. It needs to be relevant. So I mentioned this earlier, but one of the biggest mistakes I've seen people make is how much they harp on about themselves. Like they just talk about themselves. The prospect doesn't care if it's not relevant to their issue, to the actual job post. If it's not relevant, the prospect doesn't care. Simple as that. So if you spend time talking about all your experience and like your life story, the prospect is done, right? As we can see in this meme, it's done. So there's no shot that they'll care about what you have to say because it has nothing to do with them. The mark of an excellent first line is how relevant it is to the prospect. Nothing more, nothing less. So we optimize for relevance. So without like going on too long into this, you need to know what the prospect cares about. So I've actually made a checklist. So it's either you have industry experience, competitor experience, practical experience, or zero experience. So just following this diagram, like if you can say yes to at least one of these, then you have a relevant message. Like it's going to be relevant to them. So in this case, you want to put all your eggs into one basket. So the more elements of personalization we're given for the job, the better the first line will be, because we'll have more to write about. We'll have more information to draw on, and that will intrigue the prospect more because it's relevant. So you're beginning to see a pattern here, right? So if we're given their industry, we'll talk about their industry. If we're given their company name, we're going to talk about their website and their company's mission. If we're given their specific pain point, we're going to drill into that pain point. Let's say that for the job, like they're having trouble growing their social media, we're going to talk about why they're having trouble growing their social media and how they can fix that. Simple. So you really think that if you posted a job saying that you're looking for someone to grow your social media, and they continuously talk about how you're able to grow your social media with certain strategies, how they have grown social media platforms or social media accounts with a similar background to your company, to multiple thousands of followers, you wouldn't be intrigued by that? Come on, no. That's what you need to be thinking. So here are a few examples of personalized lines. I didn't write these myself, but they're not bad. Right? So compliment someone who likes to at least try being stylish. They love the Atlas collection Monta watches has. So this is the name of the website is Monta Watch. So look what they did there. They went onto the website, found one of their collections, presumably scrolled through it, and then wrote a first line on this. If someone did this for your job, what would you want to see if someone posted, or if you posted a job and someone responded? What would you want to see? If I posted a job about my company, Pleiades Consultancy, and someone goes online and was like, hey, I loved the case study that you have of you taking Dean from 10K and making him over 10 to 20K just through Upwork. I love that. I loved how you used this strategy that you talked about in the video. If somebody wrote that, I am clicking on that 100%. 100%. So it's the same mindset that you need to take towards this. Same mindset. So we are given their website. We're going on their website. We're checking out everything on their website. We're going to take one specific thing from their website that the client is proud of. Clients are proud of case studies. Clients are proud of their products. Clients are proud of the results that they've gotten for others. We're going to use that. This is exciting, right? Exciting. So the body. So we understand now the first two. So the first line, which is what's going to make them click onto your proposal in the first place, coupled with the greeting. So if we use the greeting and we have a nice first line, chances are we're already poised to get them to open the proposal, right? So you can think of the first line and greeting as a precursor. It's a precedent. That's what's going to make them click into the proposal in the first place. Now, the body is why they stay. Think about it. We got their attention with personalization. Now, we're going to keep that attention with the other 90% of the proposal, which is the body. So just because it makes up the other 90% of the proposal does not mean that it needs to be like this epistle. That's not what I'm saying, right? In fact, the shorter the body is, the higher the rate of conversion that you'll actually see. Because all of your competition is doing the complete opposite of that. They've never watched this video. So they don't even know that the clients only want to see things that are relevant to them. They don't know that. All they think is that the more they talk about themselves and how much they need the job, or how they're qualified for the job, is the better the chance is. Like, no, that doesn't work. So do you think that anybody wants to read this? I'm not even zooming in because you're not even going to be able to see. But this is like an essay. I might have written something like this as a story in my external exams at one point. Like, this is how much. And this is a proposal, right? Nobody's reading all that. So I'm either happy for you or sorry that happened. But nobody's that interesting, right? You're not that interesting. We're gonna go into the meat of the matter. Like, excuse my language. But or further. We just did that. My bad. So what makes a good body? No surgery needed. I'm so clever. So essentially the body of the proposal can be broken down into 4 pillars. So problem recognition, problem solving, proof of competence, and to push for the action. Mr. Williams would be so proud of me right now. That's my literature teacher. So I'll be breaking down these topics, but for now, this is what you need to understand. What constitutes a good body structure? So problem recognition. So we need to understand like how to, we only want problems, right? No peace. So I mentioned this earlier, but if the client is on Upwork, they have some kind of problem. That's why they posted the job. They have a pain point that's so severe that they logged on to Upwork to post a job about it, to pay some stranger that they have no idea exists to solve their issue. Think about that. It's amazing. And 90% of the time, they've already told you what exactly it is that they want solved. They've told you this already. They've said it to you. They've said, I need a social media manager to manage my social media pages. They might not have gone into explicit detail, like what type of pain this is causing them. Like maybe they just don't have a brand, so people don't trust them as much. They're missing out on leads because they're not on social media. Like there are a plethora of reasons why their pain point is as big as it is, but they've already told you. It's your job now to delve deeper into it. And this is why Upwork is so different, right? They've given you, they've told you, they've written it, and they want someone to solve it. So you don't need to do some extensive market research or something. Like you don't need to read their mind. And I've already learned how to do it at this point, but it's fine. Moving on from here, we're going to go into giving the prospect exactly what they want. If you're an email marketing agency and you encounter a job post asking specifically for an email marketer for their e-com brand, like they want welcome flows, you are quite literally what they're looking for. That's exactly what they've asked for. You may as well have been sent by the lords of Upwork themselves. This is exactly what they were looking for, right? So in this way, we'd never have to wonder whether the prospect would be interested in our services or if they'd be put off by us applying to the job. It's as simple as them telling us exactly what they want. So it's not rocket science. So this is easy, right? This is easy to understand. So I've given you an example here of problem recognition. Without going like too much into it, you can just pause the video to look. But look at it is what they're saying. They're looking for a Shopify developer to build their Shopify stores. They want someone with Shopify development. They want someone again to do their Shopify store. They want somebody to add the word Shopify. It's so simple, man. Like it's so ridiculous how easy it is to solve or to actually write, to draw interest, intrigue, and then, write a successful proposal. So going into problem solving. So you know how to identify the problem because they've given it to you. But we love fixing problems more than we actually love the problem itself. So solving the issue. This is what we're going to write in the body of the proposal. This is one of the aspects I like to write about. There's no one particular strategy that I use for everything, but I like to write about this. So we know what the issue is and we're going to solve it like completely for free. So you might be thinking, Matthew, if I solve the prospect's issue in the proposal, won't they not need me anymore? And the answer to that is yes and no. So yes, sure, they could attempt to do it themselves, but it's likely they'd expend a ton of resources and still not even get half the results that they would have if they just worked with you directly. I've had cases where for my clients, I've written like exactly what it is they need to do to fix the issue just because I have so much knowledge on the topic. They would go and try to do it themselves, fail, and then come back to me to do it anyway. Because I'm top of mind. I'm the one who gave them this strategy. And I've proven that it can work using case studies and social proof, which is something we're going to get into. Now, if they can't do it themselves, then I'm the first person that they're going to think of. Like, oh yeah, didn't I get this from Matthew in the first place? But can't Matthew just do it again? Like, that's how you need to think. So don't be selfish and don't think about what you can get from the prospect. Think about what you can give the prospect. So prospects actually like problem solvers. Like, Who knew, right? There's a slight risk they can run with the implementation we've given them. But you have to understand that 99% of your competition simply isn't operating like this because they care more about the money than helping prospects or helping people. And I'm going to tell you this, being a good person will make you a lot of money inherently. Like just being a decent person will make you a lot of money. You need to stop thinking about what you can get from the prospect and start thinking about what you can give them. That's when you'll actually start to make money. And a lot of it too. Not just on Upwork, but in general. So give the prospect information for free. Like tell them how they can solve the issue. Even if you don't end up working with them today, you'll work with them eventually. I'm telling you. As long as the information is good, of course. Never hurts to be a decent person. And then you can just breadcrumb them, right? So you can give the solution away, but you don't need to like give out all your sauce. It's like maybe you're doing automations, right? You can give them a preliminary automation, like a make scenario, but it doesn't have to be like the full thing, right? Maybe they're asking to automate a process like onboarding. Give them one part of that automation, breadcrumb them, build intrigue, right? If you're doing email marketing and the prospect wants to increase their revenue attributed to email marketing, it's going to take a lot of things to do that. It's going to take welcome flows. It's going to take abandonment cart flows. It's going to take designing creatives. It's going to take upsells. Like it's going to take multiple things. But what if you only give them the welcome flows? That's just one piece of the puzzle. The prospect is going to want more, especially if your welcome flows actually work. This actually works and you're telling me I can make more money from this? I'm going to go back to Matthew and talk to him. Like, how can I get more? How can I get abandonment cart flows? How much will that cost me? How much will it cost me to build creatives? This is how the process works, right? So give them free information, right? Prove to them that you know what you're talking about. That's what I'm doing here in this lead magnet. So just to show you that I practice what I preach, I'm giving you all of this information for free, basically. And in exchange, you're going to want to give me something back, right? Maybe some of your time, maybe your email address, something, right? It's reciprocity. So by you giving the client something for free, they're going to feel compelled to give you something back. Hence, just being a decent person. So here's an example. So you can send them a loom going over, like maybe a strategy that I used in the past for an email marketing client is to just do an audit, right? I would tell them, I'd be like, bro, just do an audit for them. Like completely unprompted, do an audit. Audit their brand. Show them in the video like what they could fix and how you would fix it if it was you. If they watch that, their conversion rates significantly go up. Significantly. I've signed more than 5 or 6 clients for them. And it's high paying clients. Like 5K setup fees. And like 2-point-something K retainers. Like good paying clients. So next up is proof of competence. Now, experience is the greatest wingman. My graphics they're just so good. They make me laugh. Or however that saying goes, right? It doesn't matter how many pain points you unearth or how meticulously you solve these pain points. If you've got no proof of results, then the prospect just won't trust you. I can be talking to you about this whole document. And if you don't trust me, like you won't take anything that I'm saying seriously. But I've shown you why you should trust me. I've earned 6 figures plus on Upwork. Just from myself and my clients. So that's why you should trust me, right? I'm giving you reasons why you should trust me actively. And starting with that, like I've given you all of this information and now you somewhat trust me. Well, I hope so. But I've given you plenty of reasons to at this point, right? Now, there's so much less friction in the process because the client trusts you. So they're reading your proposal and they're going, this information is pretty good. But what if he's saying complete BS? That's the point of proof of competence or social proof. So if you've got proof, well, you're going to succeed. I'm telling you. So I went over how to get like actual proof in my document on profile optimization. When you go into the description and get this doc, like you can just go through it. I linked it here. But for the sake of this doc, we're just going to go under the pretense like you already have proof. So before that, there's a concept that you have to understand as well. So the least amount of work the prospect has to do, the better. So the less links that they have to click, the better, the higher they'll convert. So we just want to put our social proof, like these links, Google Drive, websites, in the proposal so that they don't have to go very far. They can just click it and be like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. Says their website, oh, pretty professional, right? So the less actions they have to make, the better. And the only thing better than proof is more proof. So we want it to be painfully obvious where it is. Like, check this out here. And emojis are what I like to call pattern breakers. I didn't coin that term, but it's the same thing with this document. If all I had here was text, you would be completely turned off. You'd be like, it's just a wall of text. Nobody wants to see that, right? But instead, I have graphics. I have like these note boxes. I have emojis here. So that's the purpose. That's why we use emojis. Or that's why we use emojis in proposals. So for the links, we just want to use like Google Drive. It's free as well. So you can put your video interviews, your video testimonials, your screenshots, your written testimonials, your previous work. Like, you can just categorize them in a folder. So the client can just make a click there and be like, oh yeah, here are his video testimonials. Here are his video interviews. Here are all of his other stuff, right? So Upwork doesn't allow link shorteners like Linktree. So just don't use those. That's against TOS. Don't use link shorteners. Just use Google Drive. It's fine. It's fine, okay? I use them. And of course, you can attach stuff as well. I don't mind this. Like, it's not an extra click or anything, and it stands out. So there's an option to just attach the case studies. So if you have these methods of social proof as a PDF or an MP4, feel free to just attach them here. So here it is, like above attachment is where we would put the cover letter, the proposal, and in here you can drag or upload project files, right? So just go there if you want to attach stuff. It's also good. So here's an example of a proposal that includes social proof. So this is a proposal I've written for a client that ended up converting for them. So, without just going into everything, like here's an example of what I'm practice what I preach. So I didn't know their name. So hey there, I saw your post about needing some help with your Shopify theme templates, and I'd love to lend a hand. The project sounds really interesting, especially with all those different types of tarpaulins. So it's a tarpaulin company or something. I think it's a hardware store. I've got experience with Shopify and building custom themes, so I'm confident I can help you create a killer product page template that showcases your tarpaulins in the best possible way. Plus, I'll make sure it's user-friendly, especially considering the need for individual configurations based on dimensions. This is legit what the prospect said that they wanted in the job description. I did not write that out of my head. This is verbatim what they wanted. I just gave them what they wanted. And then here's my examples. I have to blur those out to keep my clients' confidentiality. But here's where you can see, like, I've given examples. Like, I can build these stores. We can build these stores, right? And here are examples. I did this, like, he did it for a well-known boxer. Everybody knows this guy. We built a store for him. And yeah, we've built 2 other stores as well that have super high conversion rates, right? And then, of course, here you can check out more of my case studies here if you want. That's the Google Drive link here. And that performs really well. The only thing that would make this better, if one of these stores that my client built was in the same niche. Like, that's, again, we'll go back to relevance. So if I built, or if my client had experience building a page in this similar niche, I would highlight that there. I'd be like, oh yeah, I worked with one of your competitors and we achieved this. Tell me you wouldn't respond to that. Okay, so now we're going to push for action. Now, you probably saw that briefly, but yes, deja vu here. Like, if you read the other one, then if you read the first document, then you would know what I'm talking about here. But we want call to actions. We want to tell the prospect what to do. After reading our proposals, they're going to be like, wow, this guy's pretty legit. I want to work with him. But if I'm new to Upwork, if the person is new to Upwork, like, what do they do next? Like, how do they operate the platform? How do they get in contact with me? So it's just a CTA to push them to make that next move. So I'd be like, worth exploring, and then I'd follow it up with, like, then you can do this. So would you be open to discussing this further on a call? I'd be like, oh yeah, sure. A call? Well, of course, 100%. And then they come on, and sometimes they even book in a call with you from your website, if you link your website. I've had that happen to me multiple times. That's why I make sure to check where the calls are coming from. So mind if I send over some more information? Like, yeah. If you mentioned in your proposal that you would send over like a doc or something to them on how they can solve the issue, like, yeah, you can send me more information. I want more information. Yes, of course. Interested in discussing this further? Yeah, 100%. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Feel compelled to respond. Do you get this now? It all depends on context, of course. As I said earlier, one might work better in one situation than in another. It's all context. So CTAs in practicality, here's the same proposal. So let's chat more about your requirements and discuss how we can make your vision a reality. I'm flexible with scheduling, so just let me know when works for you, or we can set up a quick meeting. The prospect responded by booking in a meeting. My client went back and forth with him, and I was like, okay, yeah, cool. We can meet now. Simple, very simple. So now the closing. So it's not as difficult as I'm making it out to be, right? When we break it down, this is what you need to do here. 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 It's incredibly simple. You know, every journey has its end. I'm being a bit dramatic here, but I had fun with these graphics, like you could see. So the closing isn't anything grandiose, right? It isn't anything extravagant. So you can end the proposal any way you see fit, so long as you adhere to the tone we mentioned near to the beginning of this doc. So just be casual with it. You're saying cheers to a friend, right? Later, bro. Okay, not like that, but right. So here's how I finish my proposals. So I'd be like, cheers, you know? It's like, cheers, John, or talk soon, David, or best, Matthew. Regards, Dylan. Cordially, Andrew. Or faithfully. Okay, I don't really like this. I don't really like this one, faithfully. I might have just included it in there because I might have used it in the past. But the first four are what I typically use. And I'd use them interchangeably. Because you don't want to be using the same one over and over. Right? So sometimes I'll use cheers, sometimes I'll use talk soon, sometimes I'll use best, sometimes I'll use regards. And then I just, use them interchangeably. So it's no different from closing a letter. You're just slightly more casual, right? So here's an example of the closing in practicality. Yeah, there you go. Here lies the body. So provided you follow everything outlined here to a T, you'll be able to craft the body of a proposal regardless of the industry, niche, prospect. Doesn't matter. Right? The goal here isn't to copy and paste proposals that may have worked in the past. The goal is to understand why they worked. That's what matters. Why did the proposal work? Templates don't matter. I don't like templates. You need to understand the reasoning. Why did the proposal work? If you're familiar with cold outreach at all, you'd understand these concepts. If I'm introducing it to you, then 100%, then you're going to learn. But you need to understand why something works. If you're just going to copy what has worked in the past for others, eventually market is going to continue to sophisticate and it's just going to stop working completely, right? So the PS line. So this is just like an extra, right? It's optional. But again, nobody else is really doing this. So if they zig, you zag, right? You do the opposite. So that's how you differentiate yourself. So I'm not saying that the general market is always wrong, but people are carried by their Upwork profiles a lot of the times. It's not necessarily that their proposals are good, but a lot of times people have decent these YouTubers that you see, they get good results because they've already built up their profiles, right? It's because they've built up their profiles why people trust them, inherently trust them more than you. Maybe you don't have any earnings, right? So you're gonna have a harder time doing this than someone who has a ton of earnings, right? Or a ton of reviews, right? So this is how you want to have, ideally, a great profile and write great proposals. Because if you can write good proposals, as I said in the beginning, you'll never have an issue with Upwork. You can do this for other people as well. That's what I do for agencies, B2B companies. So here we have Iron Mike showing the prospect what the PS line is, right? So there isn't any right or wrong way to do this. It's like a double job, right? So it's like job, right? So first job would be like your personalized first line and the rest of, so the body, the personalized first line, the greeting and the closing. And then the PS is like another job that comes right after. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, I saw that I like to use the client's location for this. I'm going to go into what I like to do. So additional social proof, additional personalization, a witty line, or a message based on the time of day. So I like to do these. So a witty line would be like, hope your day is as bright as a fully trained neural network. So this is context again. Maybe the client wants something related to this. I did some research. I go on ChatGPT and ask them about some characteristics of a neural network. And then I make a line. I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a good one. Or a message based on the client's time of day. So have a great evening. Have a great day. How is it in location? If the client is from Tampa, Florida, I'd be like, I've been to Tampa before and the weather is absolutely amazing. It reminds me of home in Jamaica. Do you live downtown or close to downtown? That could be a PS line, and that's just a conversation starter right there. So even if
the rest of your proposal didn't catch their attention, the PS line can still snap them, right? Ooh, my voice is breaking, guys. I'm almost done. So I'm just going to go over quickly like some AI use cases. Did someone say AI? Yes, I said AI. But I don't like to use these, or I wouldn't recommend people to use these until you understand why proposals work. If you can't write a good proposal yourself, AI won't solve that for you. So a few of these prompts, I'm going to give you a few of these prompts, and you can get them once again in the document in the description. So I don't have to go over everything here, but yeah, I have quite a few of them, so just go ahead and have at it. I like to use Claude AI for anything writing based, but yeah, ChatGPT works just as well, right? So that's all it is for AI use cases. So leverage AI, but remember, use your brain first. I know a lot of you guys don't want to do that, or you don't like to do it, but use your brain first, right? AI will help you in a directly proportional way to how much you help yourself. So the more you use this, the better AI is. So just to kind of wrap everything up in a bit, you want to shoot for at least an 8% response rate on all of your proposals. So if you send like 100 proposals, if you send like 100 proposals, you want at least 8% of those to be a response, to result in a response. If it's less than 8%, then you need to continue iterating, right? You need to be testing. Everything below 8% is subpar, and it's not what we want to go for. So be a scientist on Upwork. Test. Test one thing first before moving on to another thing. So test your first lines, test your PS lines, test the social proof that you use, test what you use in the body, right? You'll know what works, and then you just need to reverse engineer it. So as a bonus, I put a proposal tracking sheet here. Once again, you can get it in the doc, so be sure to get that. So you get some freebies. And here we are at the end of our journey. So if you watch this video all the way through, I just like to thank you. And, I guarantee you, follow what I'm saying here. I'm 21 years old. I'm from Jamaica. I'm from a third world country. So if I can do it, then anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what type of equipment you have. You can do this too. I used to send proposals from my phone. So you can do this. I believe in you just as much as I believe in myself, which is 100%. So yeah, I hope you got a lot of value from this video. If you do like these, then you can just let me know in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up and feel free to join my free community. I'm still building everything out, but it would be great to have you in there and, just interact with everybody. We can all achieve success. I believe we can. So yeah, thanks once again, guys, and take care.